Hi, Rachel Mead here, founder and president of Enhanced Prep. Thanks for joining me today while we take a look at this ACT science-based question. Now, one of the things I want to remind you with regards to the science is over half the questions are going to have their correct answers based upon the graphics or the charts, tables, pictures, images alone, rather than having to do any reading. As a reminder, anytime a question starts with this language of based on figure 1 and figure 2, it's telling me in and of itself that the only things I need to look at in order to be able to correctly answer this question are figure 1 and figure 2. Now, before I get entirely caught up in what the question is asking me, remember that we have to analyze our graphics. So I'm going to pay attention to what is along my axis. In figure 1, I have time. Along my x-axis and along my y-axis, I have speed. And these are both increasing at the same time, telling me it's a direct relationship. And I can also see my table. I'm dealing with something of wood and something of rubber. Moving on over to figure 2, I have time coming into play along my x-axis as well. So because these both have time in common, that's going to allow me to move between my figures. Now, along my y-axis, I have my height from ground. So that is giving me a totally different y thing. And over here, I can see that as my time is increasing, my height is decreasing. So this is providing an inverse or an indirect relationship. They're doing opposite things at the same time. And I still have both my wood and rubber coming into play. Now, with questions like this, it is vital that you come through and work the question one byte at a time, which means I'm not going to read the full question before I start marking things in my graphic. In this case, it's telling me I have a height of 28 centimeters. I've already identified where my height is. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to anchor 28 centimeters as my height onto my graphic. Okay, I've got that part done. Now let's pay attention to what the question is asking us. What was the approximate speed of the rubber block? So I need to move from figure 2 with this height over to figure 1 in terms of my speed. Now, it's also really important that I'm paying attention to my right block. It is very common to stop at wood because it shows us that wood first. But I need to come all the way over here to where my rubber is, and I can see that I'm coming in approximately 16 seconds. In order for my rubber block to have a height of 28 centimeters, I need approximately 16 seconds in time. So now I'm going to transfer that 16 seconds over, and I'm going to anchor that to this graphic. Now again, straight lines can be hard to draw on our pencil and paper copy of the test. One of the things I recommend students do is just grab your answer sheet, right? Use it as a ruler. So use it to measure things straight across, straight up and down. You can set it right on top of the graphic and draw your lines that way if you feel you need to be exact. Insider tip, we don't normally need to be that exact. We need to be pretty darn close though. So now again, I'm trying to find the speed of that rubber. So I am only going up to my rubber. I am not going up to my wood. And then I'm going to come through and I'm going to figure out approximately what was my speed. Well, what do I know? I know it was above 40, but it wasn't at 75. So if I'm coming through and I'm having to do some estimations here, I know 67 is going to be a lot closer to 75, or my 53 is going to be closer to my 50. And I can definitely see I'm less than halfway up through this range. That's my 50 to 75. So 53 is my best estimate. I'm going to answer G and move on. So remember, save yourself time. Make sure that you're only reading if and when you need to. And remember, half your questions come from your figures. So you have to practice working your figures and moving from one to the other one. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you soon.